You know, you hear people say all the time that we Americans aren't as civilized as we used to be, not as humane as we once were. After all these years that have gone by, half the people blame it on Vietnam, the other half blame it on Watergate. I blame the whole situation on Colonel Sanders. And I know you're sitting there now and you're saying, I hope he explains that. You realize before Colonel Sanders came along, the only thing that ate dinner out of a bucket was a hog? Now he's got everybody doing it. Let's say you go down to the Kentucky Fried Store. They're waiting on the man in front of you. He's about 5'8". He weighs 340 pounds. He can't hardly breathe. Anyway, you know how they got the menu on the wall over the counter? All this man can do is breathe and point. Like, and the girl says, can I help you? I feel so stupid doing that. At this point in the show every night, you know what thought goes through my mind? James, why don't you just go get a job? You know, I could have been a forklift operator. I could. My dad was, and his dad before him. When I got out of high school, my dad could have got me on down at the plant where he works, just like that. But did I take it? No. I want a bucket of chicken. And then the girl says something ridiculous like, how do you want that cooked? Trust me, people, he don't care. She's talking to a human being that's about to eat a bucket of food. Give him a live chicken, he'll kill it. Just get him out of there, I'm telling you. And by the way, if you notice, that's one thing that all of us fat people have in common. We'll do anything in the world to lose weight except quit eating. We like to read books, join clubs. Matter of fact, we like to read a good diet book while we're eating a box of cookies, you know? And I tried every fad diet that come along. Remember Dr. Stillman's water diet? You had to drink 14 glasses of water every 24 hours. I lost 2 pounds the first day. My bladder fell out. But I tell you what, I invented a diet. You fat people write this down, I don't mind. What you do before every meal, you drink a half a pint of Seagram 7. You're still hungry, but you can't find your mouth. You know. Yes. See, fat people will eat anywhere. I hate it when they eat in bed. It's nighttime, you take a shower, you crawl between the sheets, and there's tater chips in there. You know. And see, when it comes to being overweight, we all become hypocrites. In other words, it's all right to be fat, but it's not so all right to date a fat person. That makes us hypocrites. And I know I used to date a fat woman. Oh, Lord. Just so you'll know what I'm talking about. The moment you saw this woman, you just assumed that somebody in her family owned a flatbed truck. I mean, there was no daylight between her thighs. Anyway, let me say one other thing. Anytime you got ready to go somewhere early in the morning, I tell her, I say, hon, don't wear nothing yellow. School children might jump on, you know. Something else I bet you never noticed. You go into a grocery store, you buy a lemon pie, a bag of lemon candy. You read the label, it'll always say made with artificial flavoring, made with imitation lemon. Now you go to the other side of the store to get some furniture polish. They got lemon pledge. On the can, it says made with real lemon. That bothers me. We're eating the artificial junk and we're spraying the good stuff on the coffee table. Oh, Lord, it's so good being here. I've been traveling a lot. And I'm not saying this just because I'm in this part of the country. I was recently in Buffalo and Rochester, New York. I told them the same thing. Every American should go to Alabama, Huntsville, course, now, if you live there, you don't say Huntsville. You say Huntsville. But every American should go there once a year just to get in touch with reality. I'll explain that to you. This whole country is so complicated now we can't keep up with it. Alabamians are single-handedly trying to keep it simple, like God intended. The main thoroughfare through Huntsville is called Memorial Parkway. They built a big shopping mall there. They named it the Mall. I like that. Here's what they would have done somewhere else. They would have appointed committees, spent thousands of dollars to come up with just the right name. Not up there. They went to the people, and they said, what should we name this? And the people said, well, what are you building? And they said, we're building a mall. And the people of Huntsville said, well, damn. I got a suggestion for you. I do notice in traveling around that this city has the same problem as others, as all your interstate and highway construction going on. And isn't that a lot of fun? Because I know every time I get ready to go on a trip, I say, oh, I hope they don't have the roads fixed yet. Yeah. See what gets me? When they're working on the highway, they won't put up one sign thinking we'll see it. They'll put up a sign, it says the same thing, and they put it up every 50 yards. Could be a law, I don't know. But you're driving along, they're working on the highway, and they put a sign up, and the sign says, road narrows. You know what that means? Sometime in the past, some nut has said to his wife, honey, I believe our car just got wider. Starting tomorrow, some of y'all will be comedians, you know that? Every time you see a sign, you'll say, know what that means? We've had a great time this week. The manager of the club here is such a great guy. Last night we had 2 great shows here. He said, I'd take you and Benny out for a nice dinner. Took us to the International House of Pancakes. I said to him, I said, you shouldn't have. He acted like it was a big deal. Stretched out in the booth, said, yeah, order anything you want, it's on me. I got their pigs in a blanket. They're in my motel room now, just rooting around. You know, I know being average, typical Americans, every day of your life, this thought goes through your mind at least once. Some mornings when you wake up, this is the first thought on your mind. And that is, wonder why anybody ever wanted to be on Family Feud. Well, I've been thinking about it. Here's what I think. I keep visualizing some family out around Nebraska or Iowa, sitting around the dinner table one evening. The husband says, honey, you know what? They ought to be a way that we can let this whole country know our family's illiterate. Now, wait a minute. I know everybody here in Des Moines knows it already. I mean, coast to coast, just let them know we don't have a lick of sense, you know? So you end up watching them on the show. The lady introduces everybody. Now, Richard, I'd like you to meet our handsome son, Eric. And that makes you sit up straight because you can see Eric's ugly. Yeah. Eric's a senior at UCLA. He'll be graduating this year. And you're thinking, Eric's going to be all right. He's going to college. Now, later on in the program, it's Eric's turn to answer. And we all know what tough questions they have on Family Feud. Now, see, there once again, in Mississippi, that line won't work. Over there, when I say, you know what tough questions they have on Family Feud, the whole audience is going, oh, yeah, boy. Anyway, the question for Eric is, name one of the states that begins with the letter K. And, of course, Eric is stumped on this. But just before the buzzer sounds, he says Connecticut. Am I upset with Eric? No. It's that family of his. Good answer. Good answer. Good answer.